Okay, welcome to the Kenobi podcast. Public service announcement. Some serious stuff going on in the upper atmosphere. You need to be aware. Don't take it for granted. You need to know what's going on out there in the big blue wonder. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Now, let me tell you what's going on, because while nobody else has an answer for this, I've got an answer for this.
The only thing I ever want to hear about a comet that's approximately the size of Manhattan is that it won't be coming anywhere close to Earth. And yes, I get it. The term close is relative, especially in space. But this rock in question is headed our way. It's called 3I Atlas, and it is set to get as close as 167 million miles away from Earth by December 19th. That is 6 weeks from tonight. So what's the big deal exactly?
It's a big deal.
The big
Just
deal
stick
is
with
that
me.
not everybody's convinced it's a comet.
Like and subscribe, please.
And now you've got my attention. A Harvard
the
astrophysicist named Avi Loeb has pored over the latest images and was struck by the, quote, non-gravitational acceleration of 3I Atlas. It moved faster than gravity could explain. It also looked oddly blue, when in past observations it was red and then green. That Harvard professor was kind enough to give up a Friday night to join me here live.
This is
and
serious.
boy, do I have questions, Professor. First of all, should we be
I got the answer, though.
We should monitor it. Thanks for having me. That's the way science is done. We shouldn't assume we know the answer about its nature in advance. It's a blind date of interstellar proportions. And my advice on blind dates is watch the other side before you say anything.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Let's talk about 3I Atlas and how it is different from all the other rocks and comets that have, come dancing into our solar system. Why is this one standing out, other than the blue light that I mentioned before?
Oh, first of all, it's very big. It's the size of a city, 5 kilometers in diameter, 1,000,000 times more massive than the first interstellar object that we discovered 8 years ago. This is just the third, and
This is
it's
an
so massive.
extinction level event, man.
There might
This
not
thing
be enough
could
material
knock
in
out a
interstellar space
continent.
to deliver such a big object to our neighborhood over the past decade. Another thing is that it moves in the plane of the planets around the sun, which is very surprising, a chance of 1 in 500. It shed some nickel without much iron, which is very surprising because the only place we find nickel without iron is in industrial production of nickel alloys. And most recently, as you pointed out, it actually showed some non-gravitational acceleration. There was some propulsion that moved it away from its original trajectory. And I would have expected that it would lose 10 to 20% of its mass as a result of the recoil from that mass loss. And we don't see any cometary tail around it in recent days after it passed closest to the sun on October 29th. So all of these are anomalies. There are 10 of them. I didn't list all of them. And that's what makes me ask the question, is this technological in origin? Because when you have a visitor to your backyard, you better know its nature. Otherwise, it might show up at your front door.
Yeah.
And we can't afford to just adopt the most likely interpretation, which is that it's a natural object.
I have heard you say before that sometimes there could be a smarter kid on the cosmic block, and that we should be, paying attention, because what if it releases probes? We do that. We go outside our solar system and we release probes. There's something about the glow that I've heard you mention before as well, that it glows toward the sun instead of away from the sun. Is that the way most comets glow, away from the sun, and this one's all backwards?
Yeah, that was during July and August.
Ray Shields, Mr. Spock.
Usually cometary tails are made of dust and gas, and those particles are getting pushed away from the sun by the solar radiation, the solar wind. In its case, we saw that there is a jet pointed towards the sun, exactly the opposite. It's called an anti-tail, never observed before except some optical illusions where we thought that something is headed towards the sun, but not really. It was always, for a good reason, headed away from the sun. So that's another anomaly that it shows. And with all the others, I'm recommending collecting as much data as possible in the coming weeks before we figure out what this object is, because As you said, we sent the equipment out of the solar system, and maybe there was another civilization that did that a long time ago, because after all, Elon Musk may not be the most accomplished space entrepreneur since the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago.
So let me ask you this. Listen, I've been stalking you. It's a bit weird, but I am fascinated with everything you say. And something you said really stood out to me, which was that it's supposed to be getting closer to Mars by the end of the week. And I wasn't sure if it was this week or next week, because I know that we have orbiters and rovers on Mars. Do you think that if it gets closer to Mars, our orbiters and our rovers will get a better peek at it and tell us exactly what it is that's coming our way?
Yeah, in fact, it did that a week ago on October 29th. It came within 29 million kilometers from Mars, and NASA has the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter that has an excellent camera on board, HiRISE. That was a month ago. We haven't yet received the data from NASA because of the government shutdown. So I very much hope that we will see it soon when the shutdown stops. And this data could give us the highest resolution image of 3i Atlas with a pixel resolution of order 30 kilometers. This is still bigger than the size of the object, but it would inform us about the material flowing out of it, the geometry of that, and any other details. It's 3 times better in resolution than the best image we had before that from the Hubble Space Telescope.
So there's a Florida representative as well as a megastar named Kim Kardashian who are demanding, I think you are as well, that NASA open up the files and tell us what they have on this thing. What is it exactly you think NASA may have that they're not sharing?
Well, they have this best image of 3i Atlas from October 2nd to 3rd. We would love to see it. And they said due to some bureaucratic rules, they're not able to release it. I don't think science should be sabotaged by politics, the politics of the day. And I asked Kim Kardashian if she is interested. I would love to have her on my research team of 3i Atlas. Because she does show curiosity, which is at the foundation of scientific research. We should all be humble, curious, to learn something new rather than arrogant, showing off with our expertise.
Like and subscribe while you're watching this.
Do.
I want to be on your research team. I just don't have 100 million followers on Instagram. Professor Loeb, good to talk to you. Come back again. Come back in anytime.
And you are most welcome to join us if you are interested. I'll be happy to update you on everything.
Oh, you're going to regret that. I'm going to call you. Thanks, Professor. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Now, you may think I'm wasting your time with that, right? You may think I've got nothing else better to do but show you some stuff about a funky rock in space. But that actually is very serious, and that 3i Atlas is quite unique. The way this thing came into our solar system, the way it just showed up, okay? Not only that, the way it is perfectly aligned, a straight line through the planets, a straight line through our solar system without running into anything, okay? The way it's going around the sun, the way it doesn't have a tail, the way all of a sudden now it has anti-gravitational propulsion, okay? In other words, some people are saying even now that it's developed jets on it, okay? Now, they said that some of this stuff could be natural. In other words, I'm not pushing a button and saying, you better look out for the visitors here or War of the Worlds. But what I am saying is this is a phenomenon. This is something to pay attention to. Now, while a lot of the people are talking and saying they don't know what this could be, we don't know if it's they're saying it's 30 billion years old, so it's been on this 30 billion year track, finally hitting our solar system, hitting our planets and going around our sun. They're saying that its chemical mass and its mass itself could be totally different than what we understand about science. So we really don't know anything about this. Some people say update today that it could be breaking up. We won't know that until it comes from around in about another couple of weeks. Some people say that it does have jets on it now that are natural jets from the ice caps that's on it. Some people say they could be actually jets, propulsion technology. We won't know anything. But here's what I do know. While everyone's saying that this is a phenomenon and this is something that we should definitely be aware of, and we don't have the answers, there are answers for this. You know what I mean? And it's very strange because, you can find an answer for even something like comets and meteors. Where? Avi Loeb, Mr. Loeb, I respect you and I love listening to you and learning from you about this comet. But there is another book. I don't know if you read it yet or not, but it's called the Bible. The Bible has the answer, and the Bible talks specifically about extraterrestrial phenomena or cosmic phenomena that's going to be happening and what Christians call the last days, specifically the return of Jesus Christ. So let me give you an example of this. Now, these things are supposed to happen in a certain timeline in the specific return of Jesus Christ. However, it opens the door for us to truly understand that if these things are happening now, we're starting to see interstellar phenomena. We're starting to see that's 3i Atlas isn't the only one. There's another one they just located, and I think it's something called Muamua. There's another one that just came into our solar system as well. So these things are starting to happen, and they're starting to happen suddenly, and they're starting to happen in a big way. So I wanted to give you some idea of what I see in the Bible. And the Bible definitely talks about interstellar phenomena coming into our planet zone. For instance, in Revelation chapter 6, verse 12, this is something that's called one of the seals of the sealed judgments of Jesus Christ. When judgment is poured out on the earth itself, the seven seal scroll, all right, one of the seals is called the wrath of the Lamb, okay? And I'll just give you this idea. This is when Christ himself pours out his wrath on the earth entire. Wrath for what? Wrath for 2,000 years of being denied, mocked, scorned, 2,000 years of being rejected, 2,000 years of the earth itself being abused, 2,000 years of his name being used as a byword, 2,000 years of blasphemy, 2,000 years of murder and all the crimes that he's seen take place on the earth. So, for instance, I'm just going to start to read this to you. This is coming from the wrath of the Lamb. And I beheld when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs when she is shaken with a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it's rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of place. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, every bondman and every free man, hid themselves in the dens, in their bunkers, in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Now think about those things I told you about. We're talking about the sun becoming black. We've seen this. Some people call it the eclipse. The moon became his blood. We've seen red moons before. But here's what I want you to pay attention. And the stars, meteors, fell from heaven. They fell from the sky. Now, unto the earth, even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs when she is shaken by a mighty wind. Have you ever seen an apple tree or pear tree or fruit tree get hit by a wind and all of a sudden, boom, 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 you see all the fruit being just cast down to the ground? Well, this clearly talks about meteors and cosmic phenomenon that's going to happen, and it's going to affect the earth. And that's not the only one I'm talking about. Here's another one. This is called the 7 trumpet judgments. That's also in the book of Revelation. That's relative to the return of Jesus Christ. And it says here, and the second angel sounded as if it were a great mountain. Watch this. A great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. So we're talking about a huge mountain. We're talking about a three-eye atlas type situation. You heard what he said. That's the size of a city. So we're talking about a huge asteroid that's going to hit the earth, burning, so it's coming into the atmosphere with fire, was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea died. Point blank. So there's another cosmic phenomenon that's coming from outer space. All right. So I just want you to be aware, there's always an answer for something, but I'm not saying that this is that, because clearly those things that are happening right now are not relative in terms of these specific judgments, because if those judgments had already happened, a lot of Christians wouldn't be here. Okay. Because of what we also call the rapture of the church. These things are going to happen after the rapture. However, what I want you to be aware of is the fact that these things are happening now. So there is starting to be energy. We're starting to see things come into our solar system without warning, without notice. We're just picking these things up on telescopes. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. We are really imminent to things starting to happen. So there's also one more that I wanted you to look at, and it's the third trumpet judgment, and it says here, okay, and it says here, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star, that's a meteor, a star from heaven, burning as it was, coming into the atmosphere as if it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. So again, we're talking about an extraterrestrial object, okay? A meteor, an asteroid hitting the earth. Now, this thing, obviously, Three-Eye Atlas, what scientists are very baffled about, the fact that it defies what we understand about science and comets. So its composition is different. And the composition of this wormwood, this meteor that's going to fall from space, is going to be of such composition and radiation that it poisons the water that we drink. So there's going to be people dying because of thirst, that they're still going to try this water. But I'm talking about the water itself, the clean water that we drink will be poisoned because of this interstellar phenomena, asteroid hitting the earth. Okay? And I think there's one more that I've got for you here. One more. And this is the fourth trumpet judgment, okay? And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so that a third part of them were darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it. And the night likewise. And I beheld an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe! To the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. Okay, so here we have not only, again, we have such a cosmic disturbance. that's going to happen, okay, is that a third part of the moon is going to be blacked out. Third part of the sun. What does that mean? Well, that means that your daylight's going to change. Your nighttime's going to change. Your heat of the sun will change. It's going to be colder on Earth. That's going to change. There's going to be impact on the magnetic field of the Earth itself because this is going to happen. So again, we have these issues coming up. And why do I bring it up? I just want you to be aware. Now, I mean, some people may not know that those things are in the Bible, that the Bible actually talks about scientific issues. The Bible actually talks about meteors and comets hitting the Earth. You know, isn't that I mean, that should be amazing. That's one of the books that we rarely pick up. But it has an answer here that I did send to Avi Lowe email. I probably never got it, but saying, hey, have you checked the book of Revelation in this? What do you got? But I wanted you also finally to hear the words of Jesus when he talks about this himself. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus is talking about something called the Great Tribulation, but he's also talking about things that's going to happen before the Great Tribulation. But when he talks in reference to the Great Tribulation, he says this: immediately after those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars, again, multiple meteors will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. We're talking about cosmic phenomena here, and it's in the Bible. Now, I know a lot of you guys, you know, maybe you read the Bible, maybe you don't. I don't know, okay? But again, that should really interest you, that a book that is supposed to be so non-relatable to what life is going on, with the life that we live, the things that we go through, yet is not only relatable to our lives and to the lives that we live every single day, but it's also relatable to the science of life, to the scientific issues that brilliant men like Avi Loeb is trying to figure out. It addresses those very scientific issues thousands of years before Avi Loeb was even here, thousands of years before. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, be aware. I'm saying to you, be knowledgeable. I'm saying to you that these phenomena that are happening are a signal from God that, hey, listen, I'm about to do something, and I'm about to do something big. We need to be aware of that. Now, finally, for those that Avi may turn around and say, you know what? This is an alien ship, and these are aliens, and it is technological. It is not a comet. It is not an asteroid. What do I say about that? Well, I'll tell you something right now. Aliens, if they do exist, they're demons. There's no such thing as a good alien, okay? E.T. phone home, not going to happen. Any alien that we find out there, whether they're technologically advanced, way ahead of us, or they're coming looking like lizards, or guys, short men with big heads, or whatever they got in Area 51, there is no such thing as a good alien, okay? Let me explain to you why. Because the Bible says that the devil, okay, it's real. He's not a guy with a pitchfork, okay? It's a real entity. It's a real thing. And so the devil himself is in charge of the atmosphere, the air that we live in, our atmosphere, our sky. But it also says that the devil is in charge of space. Okay, the sky that we have in the Bible is called the first heaven. Space is called the second heaven. The third heaven is beyond our galaxy, somewhere far, far away, and that's where God resides. He is not in charge of the third heaven, but he is in charge of space, which means he's in charge of the solar system, the galaxies, and so on and so forth. So if there are demons out there, dude, run. If there's aliens and we find out, run. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Get the hell out of Dodge. And don't be looking like it was, Independence Day, when you had all those jokers up on that roof saying, hey, welcome aliens, and they got popped by a radar, a ray device, okay? Phasers on stun, Mr. Sulu. So like and subscribe, just giving you some ideas of another catch to this. Open your mind and heart to the things of God. Open your mind and heart to the Bible. Believe it or not, there's some really good scientific answers in there. And if you have any, I'd love for you to ask me. Maybe we can try to find them together. Or maybe all of us can take a look and try to track down Mr. Alvy Loeb. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe and keep looking up. He's soon to return.